Welcome, this is Racer KK10, and today I'd like to discuss the elements of a turn. In Real Racing 3, as in all racing, probably all racing games that have a good physics engine, turns are the place where the human racer has an advantage over the programmed competitors in the game. It's where the races are won and lost, how well you can make your turn, how quickly you can exit your turn, and how much higher of a top speed you can have in your straights as a result. We're going to start with just a basic right angle turn. And the thing that makes a science out of turning is the fact that cars are more narrow than the track itself. Say a car is probably this size in this particular track. And with that information, and knowing that the sharper the turn, the slower that turn must be taken in order to complete it. And you have to complete these turns. In order to do them quickly, you have to complete it with a delicate balance of speed and safety or carefulness, I guess. Because it's slow to crash, it's slow to skid and slide, and it's slow to just take it slow. So you have to be quick to the edge of losing the grip and to the edge of sliding off the track or skidding. So with that in mind, if you normally take a turn, you just, right down the middle of the track, that's not necessarily the fastest way to take a turn, because this turn is sharper than this turn. So what we try to do is make turns less sharp by moving the car around the track. Hit the wrong button. Okay, so we're going to start over. And so we end up using different elements of turns to straighten out the curve. And I'm going to undo that and make this a little more parallel. Okay. These orange parts are ripple strips or rumble strips that track designers put on the track to preserve their off-track, because these sections are used a lot by cars. And so in this race, and probably all racetracks, but in Real Racing 3, these are considered part of the track. Now when you're braking a car, you have to have all four wheels on the track, or the braking is not as effective. It doesn't slow you down as much as you need to be slowed down. So when your first thing you want to consider is where you're going to place your car on the beginning of your turn, and that is the entry point. The next thing you're going to do is consider where it's most optimal place to brake. That'll be the brake point. And then you need to figure out the most optimal place to turn, and that is the turn point. And then you need to know the most optimal place to get back on the gas, which is the acceleration point. And then you will end up at your exit point. So, how do we figure out where these points are? well, actually the how is coming later. The where is what we're going to work with right now. So, with this in mind, what we want to do for our entry position is try to position our car with our wheels on the ripple strip here. That way we have all four wheels on the track. And then we want to find a turn point that's going to put our inside wheel, and this is not really drawn well, but let me see. I guess my car is a lot wider and my track's too narrow or wide, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to narrow the track up so it makes more sense here. We want to have our inside wheel come over and past onto the part of the track that's not on track, because at this point you're done braking. Your turn is you're still going to have one set of wheels on the track, maybe even on this ripple strip. And then your exit point, you'll want to have your inside still on the track, and your outside wheel will come off, maybe off the track, all the way off the track, or on the ripple strip. So that kind of straightens out the turn where it would normally be more sharp. So with all that in mind, you're coming into a turn, you're going the maximum speed, and you know that you're going to have to use the brakes to go through this turn. So the question is, where do you brake? You find your braking point. Where do you brake? The first thing you'll want to do is position your car on the opposite side of the turn going in, and plan to brake so that you can turn to get to the inside of the turn. Outside, inside, and then your acceleration point in here somewhere will put your car on the opposite side of the track so that you're straightening out that curve. Now, to determine where these brake points are, you have to use trial and error. And just to give you an idea of what this optimal path looks like, I've recorded some videos that we can go through and discuss, which I'll show you at this point now. This would be the optimal turn, and I'm going to let the video play, then I'll rewind it, and we'll go through and talk about the points. Okay. Here the car is in the middle of the track and we're moving it over. We have a right turn coming ahead. You can see the right turn. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. I didn't realize I'm learning about my... I guess I'll just be able to point. You can see the right turn is up here. It's going to go right over this direction. And so we're moving to the left side of the track so we can kind of straighten this turn out as much as we can. Now in this example I didn't get my left wheels off the track, but I did get them over to the ripple strip. And you can see here I'm getting ready to press the brake. The gas is still on, and I'm turning the brake on almost exactly as the gas comes off. We're braking and we're turning about the same point in this particular turn. We come over to the apex and we move our wheels to the left side of the track as much as we can. The more you can get it off the track and take up more of the track as possible, the less sharp the turn is and the faster the turn will be taken. Now at this point we're back onto the accelerator. We're just past the apex and we're speeding back up, and the speed of the car pulls it over to the opposite side, and we're using almost all the track. You can see the right side wheels are still on the ripple strip. The left side is off the track. So this is kind of how it should look on coming in to the turn as well, even though I didn't actually perform it that way on this particular run. Now, how can we know we're finding the right points? Well, with trial and error, you will see the results of, if you have your too early braking point, braking is early, and you can see we're going very slow into the turn. It's easy to turn either side. When you're doing it in the optimal points, your car will be pushed away from the apex and forced over to the left side of the track because of the speed it's carrying, but will stay on the track. You'll have at least two wheels still on the track. If you brake too late, the brake comes in way too late, you'll go off track. We won't be able to make the turn. For this example, we used the BMW Z4 M Coupe. Has service. Well, it has service. The upgrades are 11 out of 14, and you can see the 3 of 4, 3 of 4, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3. And just to review and be a little more clear about the braking points on the optimal, the braking point here, you can see the gas and the brake are on at the same moment. It's right about when the front of the car is about to cross the end of the ripple strip, the end of the blue and white ripple strip there. And now next we'll look at the early one, I believe. So this is the early brake point, and you can see the position of the car is way in advance of the end of the ripple strip. It's probably 4 car lengths, if I can judge well here. And I'm already applying the brake. You can see the taillights are on, and you see the result is we slow down before we get to the turn, and we can very easily turn, and the car is not forced to go to the side. We can turn to either side of the track. Now for the late, you can see here that the car is over the end of the ripple strip and the brake is being applied, where the brake point before with the optimal was about a car length in advance of this the end of this strip. And you see the results. I try to turn, but I slide and cannot stay on the track. Well, thank you for watching my videos, and good luck to you in your races, and hope you're learning a little more about turns. And videos coming after this will discuss other cars with different capabilities and other turns with different angles and different situations. But this is just an introduction to the elements and how you can tell if you've got the right points or the wrong points.